The Khor'var did not merely win wars, they perfected them. For 10,000 cycles, their war banners had swept across the spiral arms like a tide of iron and fire. They did not negotiate. They did not retreat. They did not know the meaning of defeat. The Khor'var High Chronicle recorded their history with ceremonial brevity. We arrive. We conquer. We remain. That was the creed of the invincible. High Marshal Vraxen stood atop the obsidian balcony of the imperial citadel, his 4 eyes studying the newly subjugated world below. Ash clouds swirled. The last resistance fort collapsed an hour ago. Thousands of conquered species knelt before his victory. Another world brought to order, his adjutant hissed. Vraxen nodded. As expected. There was no pride in his voice. Conquest was not an achievement, it was a routine. The Empire had crushed empires older than stars. They shaped galactic borders like an artist reshaped clay. And today they acquired a new trophy. A frontier planet. Unremarkable, mineral poor, but positioned conveniently along the Empire's expanding corridor into the outer sectors. The conquering legion moved to secure orbit. That was when they found it. A metallic object drifted in the upper atmosphere, untouched by combat, untouched by time. A satellite-like construct, but smoother, sleeker, crafted from an alloy that read as unknown even to Khor'var instruments. An ancient beacon? The adjutant asked. Retrieve it, Vraxen commanded. Moments later, the object was brought aboard the flagship. The imperial cryptographers gathered, running their claws over the metal as their scanners struggled to break through its encryption. It resisted every attempt. A machine elder plugged into the artifact directly, interfacing with its encrypted core. Its many lenses dilated. Its voice crackled. The message is ominous. Display it, Vraxen ordered. A holographic projection bloomed. A simple, 4-line transmission translated automatically into their language. You are approaching protected territories. Your expansion has been observed. Your conquest is not welcome. Stop. Vraxen stared at the message. Then he laughed, a deep, resonant, mocking laugh that echoed throughout the bridge. Some forgotten species sends warnings to the Khor'var Empire? How quaint. His adjutant joined the laughter. Shall we investigate the origin? The adjutant asked. Vraxen shrugged. It matters not. Whoever sent this is already dead, or soon will be. The beacon pulsed once, as if aware it was being dismissed. A final line flickered across the hologram, one that hadn't been there before. Final warning. Then the beacon deactivated permanently, its core fusing shut. The cryptographers recoiled. The machine elder stepped back in alarm. That was not part of the original file, it whispered. Vraxen simply waved a hand. It is nothing. Another frontier species playing at being sovereign. He turned away, staring down at the conquered world as if the galaxy itself owed him its submission. Prepare the fleet, he commanded. We march toward the next sector. Let their warnings come. We are the Khor'var. He paused. We do not stop. Far beyond the Empire's borders, in the cold silence between stars, a different signal awakened. Ancient human relays lit up one by one, forming a chain of activation across the void. Lights that had slept for centuries blinked on. A message traveled across humanity's hidden defense grid, gathering speed, urgency, and authority. 2 words echoed through the network. Khor'var advancing. And from the Soul Command Nexus, deep in Earth's armored core, a protocol stirred. A protocol humanity hoped would never be needed again. Deathworlder activation, pending. The Khor'var Empire's invasion fleet descended upon Helion 3, a quiet human colony tucked deep in the frontier. Population, 12,000. Defenses, negligible. Strategic value, none. Perfect, the High Marshal decided, for a demonstration of imperial dominance. The first wave of Khor'var dropships pierced the upper atmosphere, trailing fire as they broke through the thin cloud layers. Their war horns roared across the sky. Yet the colony did not panic. No anti-air fire. No scrambling defense militia. No desperate pleas for negotiation. Just a calm, repeating broadcast. Distress signal confirmed. Sole command notified. Evacuation proceeding. Vraxen scoffed from the bridge of his flagship. They run, he growled. Typical prey behavior. But the bridge crew fidgeted, subtle, nervous. They all sensed something strange. The colony wasn't resisting, but it also wasn't afraid. The distortion. 30 minutes into their orbital insertion, Khor'var sensors began to behave erratically. Gravitic readings spiking, a technician barked. Impossible mass signatures approaching from deep space. No jump signatures, no warp corridors, no slipstream trails. Vraxen slammed a fist onto the railing. Then where is the fleet coming from? The answer came with a sound the universe should not have been able to make. Reality buckled. The void twisted, folding inward as if being pulled through a cosmic drain. Stars elongated. Shadow ripples spread across the black. Temporal distortion alarms howled. Then, out of the distortion, a single ship emerged. Black. Silent. Angular, like a blade carved from darkness itself. It bore no lights, no heraldry. Its hull drank in all sensors. Its heat signature read as below vacuum. A whisper spread across the Khor'var bridge. Deathworlder design. Vraxen frowned. One ship? They insult us. Then the second ship appeared. Then the third. Then 10. Then 50. Then hundreds. A formation so precise it defied natural physics. A wall of obsidian titans, each one larger than the Khor'var flagship, each one silent as a tomb. The stellarch of sensors choked out. High Marshal, that's not a fleet. Vraxen turned slowly. What is it? She swallowed. It's the Deathworlder Armada. The first shot. The Khor'var Empire had conquered thousands of species. In every war they fired first. It was their way. And so, with pride swollen and fear suppressed, Vraxen shouted. All batteries! Fire! Orbital cannons roared. Mass drivers spat tungsten. Energy lances lit the void with sapphire fire. The human ships didn't dodge. Didn't raise shields. Didn't even move. Every Khor'var shot hit. Every shot vanished, absorbed into the black hulls without deflection or sound. Not shielded. Not armored. Something else. Something beyond the Empire's understanding. Vraxen's mandibles drooped. What are they made of? No one answered. The human reply. A single human ship, the one at the center of the formation, activated a communication link. A voice came through. Calm. Soft. Measured. Helion 3 distress signal authenticated. Engaging hostile fleet. Do not resist. The Khor'var bridge fell silent. Then the human ship fired. Not a barrage. Not a volley. Just one shot. A thin beam, invisible to Khor'var optics, sliced through space. No sound. No flash. Only an expanding sphere of implosion where the first Khor'var cruiser had been. The second vanished next. Then the third. Then entire formations, deleted from existence faster than the eye could track. The panic began instantly. Shields failing. Weapons unresponsive. Retreat vector blocked. They're inside our firing solutions. They're inside everything. We can't target them. Within 90 seconds, the entire Khor'var raiding fleet was obliterated. Every ship except Vraxen's flagship. The human voice returned. Still calm. Still polite. High Marshal Vraxen. This is your first and final warning. End your incursions. Do not advance further into human territories. Vraxen trembled with a rage he could not name. You dare. Transmission concluded. The human ships vanished. Not jump. Not warp. They simply ceased to be in that location. The sensors needed minutes to understand what happened. The Khor'var crew needed hours. Vraxen? He needed a war. The Khor'var Empire had seen strange enemies before, Machine swarms, void dwellers, psionic priesthoods, gene-forged mercenary states. But they had never encountered anything like humanity. The surviving Khor'var flagship was seized. Not destroyed. Not boarded with brutality. Simply disabled. Every system shut down simultaneously. Weapons, propulsion, sensors, gone. The ship drifted until gravity wells formed around it, guiding it gently into the hangar bay of a colossal human dreadnought. The captured crew expected torture. Expected the brutality they themselves delivered to prisoners. What awaited them instead was far more disturbing. Understanding, efficiency, calm, and a truth the galaxy had never known. The interrogation that wasn't. High Marshal Vraxen was escorted, unbound, into a stark, quiet chamber. No shackles, no chains, no weapons pointed at him. Two humans sat across the table. One wore a simple officer's coat. The other bore no rank at all. The unranked one spoke first. "We need you to understand what you've done." Vraxen bared his mandibles. "Spare me your moralizing, Deathworlder. You interfere with the Empire at your peril." The officer tapped a console. Holograms appeared. Images of destroyed colonies. Cities burning. Species wiped out by Khor'var expansion. The human's voice remained steady. "You have enslaved 87 intelligent species. Eradicated 26. You expanded into 9 sectors we monitor." "Monitor," Vraxen sneered. "You claim these territories?" "No," the officer replied. "We claim nothing. We protect them." Vraxen laughed, a harsh clicking noise. "You protect them? With what?" "Fleets hiding in the dark." The officer's calm expression didn't change. "We don't hide," he said. "We wait." The doctrine explained. The unranked human spoke again, folding his hands. "Humanity does not wage war the way you think. We fight for dominance," Vraxen snarled. "We crush opposition. That is the purpose of war." The human shook his head. "No. The purpose of war is to ensure you never have to fight the same enemy twice." Vraxen froze. It wasn't the words. It was the tone. Matter of fact. Emotionless. Not a threat. A statement of policy. The officer brought up another hologram. Data streams, battle logs, fleet strength projections. "When you attacked Helion 3, you triggered Protocol 9. Deathworlder activation." Vraxen scoffed. "A dramatic name." "It's not dramatic." The officer looked at him with unsettling neutrality. "It's descriptive." The unranked human leaned forward. "Deathworlders don't escalate. We don't posture. We don't retaliate. We end wars," the officer finished. "Completely." The terrifying reveal. Vraxen forced a laugh, but his voice lacked its usual venom. "You destroyed a small raiding fleet. A gesture. Nothing more." The officer blinked slowly. "High Marshal, that was not a gesture." He changed the display. Thousands of red markers pulsed, locations across the Khor'var Empire. "Those are your supply chains," the officer said. More markers lit up. "Your shipyards." More. "Your command nexuses." More. "Your planetary foundries." Vraxen's throat tightened. Humans had mapped everything. Not recently. Long ago. "You've been watching us." "We watch everyone," the officer said. "Because we learned the cost of not watching." He tapped the display again. "And we've been preparing for you for 247 years." Vraxen's blood chilled. You prepared for us?" "Why?" The unranked human answered. "Because every empire eventually finds its way to our borders." The final warning. The lights dimmed. A final hologram flickered to life. A massive human megastructure, far larger than any dreadnought, hung suspended in deep space, surrounded by smaller vessels like moons orbiting a planet. A single label appeared beneath it. "Vengeance Protocol active." Vraxen stared, unable to speak. The unranked human stood. "You have one chance, High Marshal. Withdraw. Dismantle your slave systems. End aggressive expansion." Vraxen hissed weakly, And if we refuse? The human's expression didn't change. Then we will do what we were created to do. The hologram zoomed out, revealing multiple megastructures, hundreds across the galaxy. We will end your ability to wage war. Humanity didn't smile, didn't threaten, didn't boast. They simply informed him of the consequences. For the first time in his life, Vraxen felt true fear. The Khor'var Empire did not retreat. Retreat was for the weak, for prey species, for civilizations that bent to fear. And fear, until now, was something the Empire believed themselves incapable of. So when High Marshal Vraxen returned to Khor'var Prime and relayed his report, the Imperial War Council responded exactly as he expected. If the Deathworlders erased one fleet, we shall send them 1,000. The Emperor himself gave the order. Mobilize the Supreme Armada. A decree not issued in 10,000 years. The Supreme Armada. 8,319 warships assembled in formation around the throne world. Dreadstars the size of cities. Planetary siege engines. Colossal biomass titans grown from engineered warflesh. Armored spineships. WYRM-class carriers vomiting endless swarms of fighter drones. And at the center, the Imperial Trident. 3 conjoined super-dreadnoughts forming the largest mobile command vessel in the galaxy. The gathered fleet glowed with enough power to remake star systems. It had never lost. It expected it never would. The march to war. The Armada surged toward the Hellion sector, tearing through slipspace with contemptuous force. Generals boasted. Captains sang old victory hymns. Legionnaires sharpened their blade talons in giddy anticipation. Even Vraxen, despite the dread that gnawed at him, felt stirred by the sheer scale of imperial majesty. The Empire was coming in full. Earth would burn. And whatever Deathworlder monstrosities they had unleashed would be buried beneath the greatest military force ever assembled. So they believed. Until they reached the outer perimeter of human-controlled space. The silence before the end. Sensors detected nothing. No fleet. No defense grid. No ship. Just silence. A trap, they thought. Or cowardice. Or surrender. Then, without warning, the stars vanished. Every star, blotted out simultaneously. A massive shadow spread across the entire battlespace as something enormous drifted between the fleet and distant starlight. No somethings. Dozens. Hundreds. A formation so vast it made the Supreme Armada look like insects before a tidal wave. Vraxen's mandibles locked in place as text scrolled across every Khor'var display simultaneously. An override code none of their systems could block. Vengeance protocol active. The Deathworlders deploy. The human megastructures ignited. Beams of cold light lanced outward, not like lasers or plasma, but like surgical, gravitational spears. Entire Khor'var battlegroups imploded, crushed to singular points, collapsing under weaponized gravity. Planet Cracker kinetic lances fired next. Each shot carried enough mass, speed, and force to mimic an extinction-level asteroid impact. But these weren't aimed at planets. They were aimed at ships. Thousands of them. A single lance shattered a WYRM-class carrier into glittering debris, then continued through 3 battleships behind it. Quantum detonation torpedoes bloomed across the void. Where they struck, space tore open. And ships simply ceased to be. Khor'var formations scrambled, breaking ranks in panic. They had never broken formation in their entire history. The Empire tries to fight back. Return fire. Vraxen roared. Energy lances fired. Mass drivers thundered. Bio-titans screamed into the void, launching themselves at the nearest human megaship. Every attack struck the human armada. Every attack had the same result. Nothing. Weapons dissolved before impact. Armor-piercing rounds melted into gas. Bio-titans evaporated mid-flight. Human vessels were not shielded. They were simply untouchable. The 7-minute war. The Empire expected a drawn-out battle. They received annihilation. In the first minute, 1,200 Khor'var vessels destroyed. In the second, the Imperial Trident's engines torn off by a single gravitational spike. In the third, half of the Supreme Armada's command network severed. In the fourth, all carrier-based forces eliminated. In the fifth, Bio-Titan legions atomized. In the sixth, all remaining slipspace drives disabled, no escape possible. In the seventh, nothing remained. 8,000 warships, 10,000 years of victory. An entire era of unchallenged dominance. Gone. Not defeated. Erased. The message humanity left behind. Only one transmission was broadcast from the Deathworlder Armada. It played on every Khor'var channel, on encrypted frequencies, on civilian channels, everywhere at once. A single voice. Calm. Soft. Human. We warned you. Then the Armada vanished the same way it arrived. Not jump. Not warp. Simply disappeared, leaving only silence and the ruins of an empire. The Khor'var Emperor stood alone in the Grand Hall of Triumphs, a chamber once illuminated by the banners of countless conquered species. Now every banner had been lowered to half-mast. Every victory plaque dimmed. Every war chime muted. The silence was unbearable. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Empire of Eternal Victors had nothing left to celebrate, and everything left to fear. The Emperor's last assembly. The Imperial War Council gathered, trembling in their armor. Generals who once commanded sectors now spoke in choked whispers. Admirals who had never known defeat stared at their claws as if unsure they still belonged to them. "Speak," the Emperor rasped. His voice shook with a weakness he had never shown before. High Marshal Vraxen stepped forward. He was no longer proud, no longer defiant. His mandibles hung low, his posture broken. "Your Radiance," he said, "the Supreme Armada was eradicated." A murmur ran through the council. Fear, disbelief, denial. "All of it?" the Emperor demanded. Vraxen nodded slowly. "All of it." The Emperor swayed. His throne, crafted from the hull of a defeated Titan, suddenly felt unbearably heavy. How long did our Armada resist? Vraxen closed his eyes. 7 minutes. The hall erupted into horrified gasps. 10,000 years of glory, 7 minutes to ash. The human ultimatum. Before the council could fully process the loss, every screen in the chamber flickered on. A human appeared. Not armored. Not armed. Not triumphant. Simply calm. As always. "Khor'var Empire," the human began, "your Supreme Armada has been neutralized." Many council members bristled at the word neutralized, as if the erasure of a civilization's greatest military force was nothing more than a routine procedure. "Our terms remain unchanged," the human continued. "End all slave systems. Withdraw from expansion territories. Release all subjugated species. Or hostilities resume." The Emperor snarled. "You dare dictate terms to an empire older than your sons?" The human tilted his head slightly. "We are not dictating terms." He paused. "We are offering mercy." The hall fell silent. Mercy. The Khor'var did not know the word except as a weakness. Yet from a Deathworlder, the word felt like the edge of an executioner's blade. The collapse of the invincible. The Emperor rose from his throne. "High Marshal," he said weakly, "what is your assessment?" Vraxen did not hesitate. "We cannot defeat them. We cannot negotiate from strength. We cannot outpace their weapons, technology, or strategies." He looked around the hall, at the carved victories, the banners, the murals of conquest. Humanity does not seek conquest. They seek security. If we remain a threat, they will erase us. The Emperor stared at him, eyes widening. "As they erased our Armada." Vraxen bowed his head. "Yes, Radiance. The surrender." Hours later, an official transmission was sent across the galaxy. It traveled on every channel, in every language, across every world once held under the Khor'var boot. "The Khor'var Empire hereby ceases all hostilities toward humanity and its allied territories. All enslaved species are released. All expansion is halted permanently. The message ended with words never before spoken by the Empire. We surrender. And across thousands of worlds, chains shattered. Prison camps opened. Armies stood down. The empire that never bent snapped in an instant. The final scene. Deep in space, in the quiet void between galaxies, an obsidian human battle barge drifted silently. A lone figure stepped onto an airlock platform. He carried a small device, no larger than a lantern. He placed it gently into the void and activated it. The buoy lit with a soft, blue glow, broadcasting a repeating message. This region is a protected space. Violence will be met with termination. Proceed peacefully. The human officer looked out into the endless stars. Let's hope, he whispered. No one else needs the Armada. The Deathworlder ships vanished into the dark, leaving the buoy pulsing alone. A warning. A promise. A reminder. Humanity does not rule the galaxy. But the galaxy now knows. You do not provoke the Deathworlders. There will not be a second warning.